enforcement. And Google hell-bent on influencing elections, refusing to work with the U.S. Defense Department, but all too happy to assist the communist Chinese military. And now Google employees are dead set against working with Interior Immigration Enforcement. Google workers passing a petition demanding the technology giant not bid on contracts with Customs and Border Protection, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and the Office of Refugees Resettlement. For more on the story, we turn now to Jackie DeAngelis with the latest. Jackie?
Good evening to you, Lou. That's right. This is an interesting story. Google employees signing this petition asking the search giant not to bid on these contracts, specifically cloud service contracts with U.S. Customs and Border Patrol and ICE. So there were more than 500 employees at the company that signed this particular petition, saying that it actually perpetrates a system of abuse and malign neglect at the border. So it's not the first time this has happened at Google. We have seen this before. Workers protested last year about Google's work with the Pentagon. In that case, it was actually over using AI in conjunction, with drones. More than 4,000 people signed it then, and some even resigned over it. Now, Google did move forward with those contracts because, remember, they're very valuable. The cloud services business, about $8 billion a year, and they're competing with Amazon there. But the CEO did sort of put some new guidelines out about how they would deal with this in terms of the future. But these petitions raise a huge debate. How much say do workers at a company have about those contracts and what the company is doing with the work that they're doing? And also, it was just last month that Peter Thiel brought up the point that the Chinese, for example, Chinese military might be working with Google. It was the president himself as well that questioned this. So I reached out to Google today. They did not get back to me.
They did not get back. That's so unlike Google because their commitment to transparency just extends about nowhere. It is a remarkable company in that it is working with the PLA, that is China, the Communist government of China, on artificial intelligence, and refusing to do so with the United States in like programs. And you raise an interesting question. The role, the empowerment of employees to influence corporate decisions. These are not only corporate decisions, but national security decisions by a corporate citizen. And Google right now is hardly the exemplar of a corporate citizen of the United States.
No, and I imagine that this will raise the question for a lot of tech companies as well, because this sort of sets the stage for conversations like this, for employees to raise these kinds of grievances. I think how Google handles this will really be, crucial and critical to how other companies will follow its example.
Well, obviously on the horizon now is the question whether or not this will be left entirely to Google, to other big tech firms, to Silicon Valley. The head of the FTC talking about embracing the idea of breaking up, divesting in these companies, separating these companies into manageable forms that would perhaps be more easily persuaded to honor their role as corporate citizens of the United States, because right now they're dishonoring that role in large measure. Jackie, great to have you here.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Anti-ICE protesters in Rhode Island harassing a federal detention center worker last night. These demonstrators blocking the entrance to a facility holding illegal immigrants. When the driver tried to pull in to the parking lot, the protesters surrounded him, yelling, banging on the hood of the truck, blocking his entrance into the facility. In jurisdictions all around the country, by the way, what they committed is assault. Trying to stop and block a vehicle is considered assault. In some instances, banging on an occupied vehicle is considered assault, which obviously the demonstrators may have committed in Rhode Island last night. Joining us tonight, Tom Holman, former acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also Fox Business contributor. Tom, great to see you. And I know that it must just gladden your heart to see a bunch of demonstrators at a immigration customs enforcement facility blocking the path of a guard and then complaining about the fact that he sought to do what is within his rights, which is to proceed to park his vehicle and go to work.
Well, exactly. Look, first of all, there's a lot of protesters nationwide that's showing up for ICE facilities, and it makes you wonder if they even got a job. But besides this, they got to understand, ICE employees, especially our contractors that run our facilities for us, they're on edge, Lou. And I don't want to happen in this incident, but our employees are on edge. We had someone shoot at an ICE office yesterday in San Antonio, barely missing by inches, an employee murdering one of our employees. I showed a video today in my Fox. I did a Fox op-ed today, and I released a video today from one of our facilities in Tacoma, Washington, where the man shot at the building. Then he tried to blow it up with propane tanks and catch the building on fire, which would killed 1,300 people in that building. Many of them were locked up. So hundreds of immigrants would have perished if he would have been successful. Thank God Tacoma PD was able to take him out quickly. But ICE employees are on edge. They're under attack. And our contracts are under attack. Our contracts in Florida, there are protests there where they threaten their families.
Let me say to you, your concern I share and understand, but perhaps we shouldn't be as concerned as we are, because the leader of DHS had this to say. So I'd like everybody to listen to DHS Acting Secretary McAleenan as he sought to reassure the officers, agents, and employees of the Department of Homeland Security.
The environment where we're demonizing law enforcement for doing their jobs, for enforcing the law on the books, is concerning. It can be dangerous, and it can result in people taking actions that are not supported by the facts, that are not in response to anything inappropriate that our men and women of ICE and enforcement removal operations are doing. And I think we've got to tone that down.
First person plural. He didn't mention the radical left elements that are leading the attacks on and assaults on ICE. Who is this man, and what does he think he's doing?
Well, first of all, he needs to tone it up. First of all, you need to call out the people who are responsible for this, the Democratic leadership, AOC and the squad, just about every Democrat running for president who wants to abolish ICE. They call them Nazis. They call them racists. They say we run concentration camps, and they wonder why people are emboldened to attack ICE officers. So call them out. Don't soften it. Call them out, because they're quick to call out the president, saying his hateful rhetoric calls this El Paso and Dayton thing. Call it out. There's a lot more hate on the left than there's ever been on the right. So call them out. Second of all, zero tolerance. They don't like that policy. I would say, you know what? Effective today, zero tolerance. You put a hands on an ICE officer, you're going to jail. You threaten an ICE officer, you're going to jail. You interfere with an ICE officer making an arrest, you're going to jail. Zero tolerance. We got to protect our officers. We got to show them we have their back. We got their six. Do your job. Don't be afraid. We got you. That's the message that needs to go out.
It is a message that needs to go out. And there is also a message that seems to me that it needs to go out, Tom, and that is that the Department of Homeland Security is following the orders of the President of the United States and securing that border, building that wall, and stopping illegal immigration. Right now, DHS is 0 for 3.
Well, the president has a great plan. The president has, look, a lot of things happen on this president. He has done more than any president I've ever worked for in trying to secure the border, despite the courts, despite the lawsuits, despite Congress not lifting a finger. He has done a lot to secure this border.
Chuck Schumer,
yes,
Mitch McConnell, the whole bunch.
Yes, some in his own party. Look, when he threatened terrorists on Mexico.
And by the way, the resistance within his own administration.
Some resisted his terror threat. His terror threats got Mexico to do more than they've ever done in my 3 decades of service, and that's made a difference. This president has a great plan.
So what are we going to do with 2020 approaching? And this president, who is a historic president, has done so much, whether it's on the economy. Does anybody give this president credit for destroying ISIS, reducing its ground control in Syria and Iraq to 0? Not a person. Not a person talks about what he's done to the economy, what he's doing in balancing international trade, what he is doing leading the entire free world against, by the way, the distinct wishes and heartfelt wishes of the Republican establishment and left-wing globalist elites. Tom, I mean, he's got to get this under control, and he's got to have people who believe in him and what he's doing, because right now these numbers are not very satisfactory.
Look, I can't disagree with you, Lou. I've worked for 6 presidents. He's done more than any president I've worked for, and he's done a lot to try to secure this border and to protect America. He takes his job seriously, and if they stop resisting, even some in his own party and some in his administration, if they stop resisting, we would have secured this border. There would have been no zero tolerance and family separation. If the Congress would have come and done
Paul
their job.
Ryan hadn't been Speaker of the House, this would already be resolved.
Yeah, the president has a great plan, and he's got a lot done despite them. I'm just saying if they would have come to the table and worked with this president, we wouldn't have half these
We're
problems.
past that, Tom. This Congress, this Democratic Congress, is not going to work with this president. This Congress is committed to stopping him at every turn on every policy issue, including, by the way, the talk that has sprung up suddenly about, the Second Amendment being advisory rather than protective of American citizens' rights to own weapons.
Look, I've said it many times, this Congress, this Democratic leadership, they hate this president more than they love their country, and they're proving it every day. They haven't offered one assistance on the southern border. People are dying. Women are being raped. They say they care, but they haven't taken one action. They have turned on the American people. The number one responsibility as a member of Congress is to protect this country, protect our sovereignty, secure the border, and they've done none of it. The president's on his own on this thing, and thank God we got him there. But you're right, Lou. He needs help. We got to get behind him. Thanks for shows like yours in this network. And
there are no shows like this one, Tom. Let me guarantee you. I know. I'm kidding with you.
Well, look. What I'm saying is, we got to keep talking to the American people and tell them the truth.
No, what we got to do is declare war on the damn cartels and be done with it. This is not kids' play any longer. Too many presidents have done so, and for too long we permitted corruption on both sides of that border in both political parties, because all that is being done is to protect the Mexican drug cartels and the corruption that spreads even wider north and south of that border. Tom Homan.
But we got a great president. He's doing everything he can despite the attacks and despite the resistance.
Well said. Thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you, sir.